Okay, so I'm going to start. Again, thank you so much. It's an honor for me on behalf of all the team of Fundación ProAves in Colombia to have the opportunity to share the work that we've been doing and to give you a little bit of history how the organization started, what have we been doing, and what we are looking forward to doing in the near future, despite of all the adversities that we recently had to face, not only with the COVID situation, but also difficulties that have risen in the country recently due to a combination of challenges, I will say. So our Fundación ProAves our logo is inspired on this magnificent bird, is the yellow-eared parrot that gave birth to the organization. About ProAves, it started about 20 years ago, and like everything else, it starts with an idea and a dream and passionate people behind it. And the intention was to protect and bring the yellow-eared parrot from the extinction. Today, Fundación ProAves has 57 staff members that all across Colombia. Of those 57, 39 are forest rangers. They are permanently living in the reserves, and they are supported in a daily basis by 7 regional directors. They are extremely committed people. They are passionate, dedicated, and they really, really put their lives in front of different circumstances just to protect what we love, that is the biodiversity and the species. And the team is also supported by a research team and the communications and administration team that also in different parts of Colombia. And we have our main office is in Rio Negro in Antioquia. The mission of ProAves is to protect birds and the habitats in Colombia. All of this is possible with the community support, going from local actors, from government representatives or other organizations, local organizations and regional organizations, and of course the public, the kids, the women, and the locals who are in the communities and facing the same challenges that we are now facing, as ProAves is part of the communities by being present constantly through the nature reserves. This passion and love for biodiversity and the force that has characterized ProAves. Well, one of the major results is that finally the yellow-eared parrot was downgraded from critical endangered species to endangered species after 20 years of very, very hard conservation work. But I think we all came united, and all Colombians came, worked together side by side and addressed the conservation issues. And we all, in incredible collaboration across Colombia and internationally, the result is that we actually prove that we can detain and stop extinction when we all come together and address the issue. So that is one of the biggest achievements where we are super proud and always talk to people with a message of hope and perseverance, and that we can really continue to do good work. And this approach change and influence the harming traditions that were implemented many times because people don't really know or understand. But this is the great example. And it started a nationwide campaign outreach for bird conservation, but under this umbrella of bird conservation was the message of conserving and preserving biodiversity. And that's how to date, ProAves has established 27 bird reserves across Colombia to save birds as a flagship species. We also were the very leading organization on establishing the first birding lodges specialized for bird watchers in key areas of Colombia where there was very important species that many people wanted to see. So we started to break and make a path for many other people and encourage locals to also look at the ecotourism, bird tourism, especially as an opportunity for income and protect nature at the same time. Our red network of protected areas, as I mentioned before, we have 27 nature reserves across 13 departments or states in Colombia. Here the map will show you the locations of where they are. These nature reserves protect over 36,000 hectares of forest, and this is strictly to protect the most threatened species of birds, but also other species. As an example, these nature reserves are protecting 65 of the 84 endemic species of birds that represent a 77% of these species, which is an incredible important for the conservation of the bird life in Colombia. As you can see, we are scattered from the north to the south, and we have 2 other reserves in the Orinoquia, in the Amazon region. And this network of reserves obviously is so important, but at the same time bring a level of difficulties that the team, as I mentioned, the 37 forest guards are in these areas. Some of the reserves have 1 forest guard, some of the reserves have more than 1 due to the situation and the current needs and the threats of each reserve. So for us, each reserve is different. They have their own management plans. We have identified the key conservation actions that we need to advance, and also what type of work specifically we need to develop with the communities to trying to secure buffer areas of the reserves. In terms of protecting bird species, just a quick summary to emphasize why these protected areas are so important for protecting over 1,500 species of birds in our reserve, and that represents 15% of all the birds on Earth on these 36,000 hectares of land. And here's some numbers that indicates in terms of the critical endangered species, the number that we are protecting in our reserves, also for endangered species and vulnerable species. Our work obviously has a strong emphasis on conservation. Therefore, we invest in implementing management plan for all the 28 reserves. So it's 27 nature reserves that ProAves owns, and then we have 1 extra reserve which is given on by the local government to help with the management. So we include 28 protected areas. We have our silvopasture program, conservation easement program, and our reforestation program, apart from installation of nest boxes and so forth. And as I mentioned before, for us, it's super important to work with the communities, to bring visitors to the reserve and talk as much as we can about the importance of conservation and biodiversity. Here is just a graph, a map that I wanted to share with you of the 27 nature reserves, where we have the most endangered species of amphibians. That there are 9 reserves that are super important for us in terms of the presence of these species of amphibians that we really are very interested in study and understand a bit more of the ecology. As you know, some of the research it requires a lot of resources and tools, and especially dedication. So this gives you an overall view of what we're doing and in terms of our nature reserves and amphibians. Our protected areas are key biodiversity areas. They're all strategically identified and created based on these criteria, which make us extremely efficient and target the habitats that are critical and need more attention and immediate action and continuous conservation in order to protect these key species. As you are very aware of, the critical endangered amphibians, especially in Colombia, well, there are estimated, perhaps these numbers might need to be adjusted, but the baseline that we're using is 149 species of amphibians in Colombia, and the second to Brazil, and as the most diverse nation on Earth for these amazing creatures. And as you all know, we're facing extremely high rate of extinction due to habitat loss and the fragmentation of the habitat, and added to another challenges as the illnesses and the fungus that are affecting these amphibians. So based on that, ProAves and one of the nature reserve, El Dorado Nature Reserve, which is located in Sierra Nevada in Santa Marta, that protects a population of 23 endemic species of birds, but also it protects 9 species of endemic amphibians, and all of them obviously almost threatened with extinction. This area, El Dorado Reserve, protects at the moment 3,500 hectares of land, and it shows you the importance for the conservation of the amphibians. And I'm just going to run you through a series of slides showing you some of the species that are present in these 9 reserves that I mentioned above, for you to have an idea of a more detailed idea of the species that we're talking about and we are preserving in our sites. Here is some other 3 species in the Sierra Nevada and Santa Marta. As you can see, the major challenges in there are also habitat loss and pressure on the forest. Another reserve that I'm going to go through quickly before we dig more deep into our lovely reserve for the Tolima golden poison frog is the Anori and Arrierito antioqueño. Arrierito antioqueño is in Antioquia, obviously, and it has about 1,300 hectares of land in the humid forest, and it's the home for these 2 wonderful species that is one of the key locations for the species. In our reserve, Titica Besiblanco ProAves in Mutatá, we also have these 2 species present. The Titi has a protected area of 994 hectares of land, and this tropical forest range from 100 to 250 meters above sea level, located in the Chocó, Colombian Chocó region. 2 other species that we are also tracking, one is the Rana terribilis reserve in Timbiquí, Cauca, with the Phyllobates terribilis. This reserve is a very small reserve, really 750 hectares of land, but is proven to be one of the strongholds for the species and extremely important. And unfortunately, the frog has been heavily hunted, and the pressure on the habitat is also causing serious problems for the species. Another one is in our reserve, Lora carirrosada reserve. This is located in the Carmen de Atrato in the Chocó. This species is protected by 4,000 hectares of land, and also extremely important habitat for the species. Another reserve that is important is Reinito Cielo Azul. This is located in San Vicente del Chucurí. The pressure in the area is also for agriculture. The habitat has been lost for conversion to agriculture. And ProAves has 207 hectares of land in that area dedicated to the protection. In the Giles, Fortesi, Loros Andinos, and Corona Azul, we are protecting the Harbeo plum toad. Also very important, this area is a large area, so we have a combination of reserves and it's a pristine habitat, very important, and in the high elevations of the Paramo. And now we obviously want to Ranita Dorada with the ProAves Reserve, and thanks to you and the collaboration, we've been able to establish this reserve. This is an example of the pink glass frog and the Tolima golden poison frog, but also another species, the Falan poison frog, which is extremely important, and they share the habitat. And we're very pleased to tell you that we got recent records of the species. So we ProAves managed to establish the first bird amphibian reserves in the world, and we wouldn't be able to do it without your support of the Dendrobatidae Nederland, and it was the first amphibian reserve, which was wonderful to be able to do it and tell and share the story to the rest of the world of why it was so important to purchase this property and protect this fragmented forest forwarded to dedicated for the Ranita Dorada. So we actually went ahead and the members of the team with the forest guard, they're being constantly and permanently monitoring the species. Our forest guard has spent nearly 15 years in the area. He knows the species very well. He can identify and locate them. And it's been extensive work, and we would like to show you some pictures, a video of the reserve for you to have a better taste of what it looks like. And we would love to invite you to come on the reserve, and if not this reserve, but there are other reserves in ProAves. And if I'm going to try to play the video from here, and I hope it works, and I hope that you enjoy these footages that Joanna, the sub-director of the region, went to the area and put together especially for you guys. I'm going to play.
Durante 23 años de trabajo, la Fundación ProAves ha establecido a lo largo y ancho de nuestro país 27 reservas naturales, una dedicada a la conservación de una ave migratoria, 2 a la conservación de anfibios, 3 a la conservación de mamíferos y las demás dedicadas a la conservación de aves residentes de nuestro país. Hoy nos encontramos en la reserva Ranita Dorada, una de las 2 reservas dedicadas a la conservación de anfibios amenazados. Esta reserva tiene aproximadamente 120 hectáreas y está ubicada en la vereda El Llano del municipio de Falan, en el corregimiento de Frías. Este municipio queda al norte del departamento del Tolima. Fue creada en el año 2008 con el objetivo de conservar uno de los últimos relictos de bosque subtropical húmedo y de conservar el hábitat de una especie que para entonces estaba recientemente descrita. Se trata de una especie de anfibio perteneciente a la familia Dendrobatidae, o más conocida por todos como la familia de las ranas venenosas. Se llama Andinobates tolimensis. Esta ranita es categorizada por la IUCN como en categoría vulnerable a la extinción, es endémica y hasta el momento ha sido registrada solamente en su localidad tipo, que fue donde fue descubierta en el año 2007 y que es donde nos encontramos en este momento. Es una ranita de aproximadamente 2 centímetros de longitud, tiene una coloración amarillo bronce brillante en la cabeza y va desapareciendo a lo largo del cuerpo, tornándose marrón oscuro. De ahí que reciba su nombre de ranita dorada. Ella es de hábitos diurnos y crepusculares, vive en el bosque secundario, en el suelo del bosque secundario, entre las hojas, entre los árboles caídos, entre raíces de los árboles. Es de hábitos subterráneos, mantienen cuevas y por ende se hace un poco difícil su registro y su monitoreo. Sin embargo, esta es una tarea que realizamos constantemente en la Reserva Ranita Dorada. Monitoreamos tanto poblacionalmente como comportamentalmente esta especie y otra especie que comparte hábitat con ella, que también es una ranita perteneciente a la familia de las ranas venenosas, llamada Andinobates dorisswansonae o ranita roja punteada, también categorizada por la IUCN como vulnerable a la extinción y también endémica. Otra de las especies que conservamos acá en la Reserva Ranita Dorada es una especie de anfibio de la familia de las ranas de cristal, centrolénidos, se llama Nymphargus rosada. Es una especie de gran importancia ecológica también. Está categorizada como vulnerable a la extinción, igual que las Andinobates, y también es endémica, igual que las Andinobates. La principal amenaza que enfrentan estas especies es la pérdida y fragmentación del hábitat debido a la expansión de la frontera agrícola, que es un común denominador en el área. De ahí la importancia de que existan áreas protegidas como esta, que le permiten a las especies mantener su éxito reproductivo y por ende permanecer en el tiempo. Además, la importancia de generar planes de conservación que nos permitan generar líneas bases de información donde podamos conocer los requerimientos ecológicos de las especies, donde podamos conocer los estados poblacionales, enriquecer la historia natural de las especies de tal manera que podamos generar estrategias efectivas de conservación a corto, mediano y largo plazo. Así que sean todos bienvenidos a trabajar en pro de la conservación de estas y de otras especies en la Reserva Ranita Dorada de Fala en Tolima.
Thank you. So I hope you like the video. She is Joanna Castro. As I mentioned, she's the staff director. She constantly travels to the area, and the forest guard, Pantaleon, he's been, as I mentioned, for many, many years with us, and the reserve has become obviously the home. They know the area very, very, very well. Since I joined ProAves last year, one of the goals that I have is to trying to help the team to get a system where we can start doing better monitoring of the species, have the platforms that we can use to start having better records of the register of the frogs. And so at the moment, what we're doing is continue to provide the tools, equipment, and what they need to secure the habitat. As they mentioned, the major challenges at the moment is the agriculture boundary expanding. So it's extremely important to have corridors for the species. So what we don't want to really see is that the nature reserves become a pocket of forest and there is no connectivity in the habitat. So that is our major fear at the moment. The species are thriving in the reserve, but we need to continue to work with the locals and implement and strengthen the conservation management plans. From the local government, we have very good support. The municipality, the mayor, they are very committed and help us, and they are very engaged with working with us, and they know the importance of the conservation work that we're doing. In terms of the challenges, COVID has brought a new set of challenges that we never seen before. The invasions and the reserves have increased considerably, and the illegal logging, illegal mining, that is putting pressure in many of the ProAves reserves. Unfortunately, because of the COVID, the pandemic, the government wasn't able to assist the request of the foundation to come and help us dealing with some of the issues that we had. Unfortunately, some of our forest guards received threats, and it's a very serious situation to deal. Unfortunately, early in the year, our beloved friend and forest guard, he was the first forest guard, Gonzalo Cardona. Here in the picture, he was assassinated, and it really was a very hard moment for the foundation. Sorry. Just when you doing conservation, you never think that you're gonna have to face something like this. Gonzalo is an example of the hard work and passion that I think is what I'm sorry. All the forest guards in ProAves are identified for their enthusiasm and the commitment towards conservation. And to be honest with you, that is what it drives us to continue to fight for conservation and for these wonderful creatures. And everyone in ProAves has been hit to the core for what happened, and at the same time give us energy and more strength to honor the dedication of many, many wonderful people and honor the memory of Gonzalo and what he did for the yellow-eared parrot, that his contribution literally helped us to save the species. And we believe that identifying more people like him and like Venancio, who is in the other picture here with the poison frog from Timbiquí, and if we continue to support them with everything that they need to get the work done in the field, talk to the people with the farmers and influence them to change the behavior and to allow some room for nature and for biodiversity and conservation, we believe that we can continue to do the work and stop the illegal mining, work with the communities to find other solutions for the problems. We believe that is the only way that we can do this work. And I'm sorry I got so emotional. I apologize. It just, I think is hard, and thank you for the opportunity to share this with you in such an intimate level. But at the end of the day, I think the conservation is becoming such an important way of living that the more people that we can share what it is all about it, the better. In our future and how we see the conservation, not only in Falan, the reserve for the Tolima golden poison frog, but for all the work that we do across Colombia, is that the team is committed to continue to work. We only are able to do this work because the support of individuals, the other organizations, and organizations like you guys who have been truly, truly important to what we've been doing. Without your support, the reserve will not be here. The forest guard will not be able to do all the work, and the chain and the ripple effect of good conservation work. So from all of us, we really thank you, and for having this space to share and to talk to other people how important it is to continue with the amphibian conservation. And this is a picture of some of the forest guards and the sub-director. As you see, we're trying to include as many females and women as possible, especially young researchers. And the forest guards also, we are encouraging them to get more training, more tools, and connect with people who are very excited and motivated, and researchers who can teach them and train them so they can conduct and do all the conservation and the research on the ground, because the strength is that they are permanently based in the reserves and they can take and do constantly the work. And Another word that I would like to tell you is to please, when the pandemic allows, I will encourage you to come and visit us. The frogs and the amphibians are waiting there for you. They'll be very happy to see you. And we also will be very happy to have you and share more of the work that we've been doing. And hopefully you can also come and give us a hand with so much work that we have to do. Very grateful again to the Dendrobatidae Nederland, and here's my contact information. Please feel free to contact me, to write directly. I'll be happy to answer more questions, and if it's a very detailed technical questions, I'll be very happy to bring the team, the researchers, to help us to clarify as much as possible. Thank you again.